Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today we're going to do an oral and written retell for the first grade journeys lesson 30 and the story Winners Never Quit by Mia Hamm, illustrated by Carol Thompson. Our essential question is, why is teamwork important in school or sports? In this lesson, we're going to do a turn and talk routine where I ask a question. You're going to think, then you're going to pair up with a partner at home, or you can be my virtual partner. And then you're going to share out your answer in a complete sentence using the sentence frame or sentence stem I gave you. Let's review our vocabulary words because these will be in our retell as well. Some of them will be underlined. So what word is this? Loved. Say it again, loved. Loved means that you liked something very much and that you cared about it. Loved. Number 2, can you read it? Everyone. Everyone means all of the people who are in a place together. Everyone. Number 3, brothers. Brothers are boys who are the children of your parents. 4, field. A field is a large open area where a game is meant to be played. Field. 5, sorry. Sorry means feeling sadness or pity. Sorry. 6, only. Only means a certain number or amount and no more. For example, there is only one fish. There are only 2 minutes left in the game. 7, people. People are human beings. People. 8, most. Most means more than any other. Most. So this book is a narrative nonfiction. Nonfiction means true. This story really happened. Narrative means story that happens in a sequence. So a narrative nonfiction is a selection about real people, things, animals, or events. These selections are usually told by a narrator and follow a sequence. Narrative nonfictions can have real photographs and captions. So, Winners Never Quit is a narrative nonfiction or true story about a famous soccer player named Mia Hamm. So, our learning target, repeat after me. I can retell the narrative nonfiction, which means true, story, Winners Never Quit, with my partner using pictures, words, and sentences. Success criteria. How will you know that you're successful at reaching that learning target? Well, each lesson is like climbing a learning mountain and we want to get to the top. So here's our steps for success. I will answer the talk about it questions. Number 2, I will say and match the character and settings. 3, I will write or match the lesson or more of the story, what the characters learned. Number 4, I will put the retelling pictures in the correct sequence or order. Number 5, I will write or match the sentences to each picture, saying what happened first, later, last. So let's review our turn and talk rules. If you have a partner at home, number 1, eye to eye and knee to knee. 2, if I'm your partner, first one person talks, the other person listens. So I will talk first while you listen. Number 3, then the next person talks and the other person listens. So you take turns with your partner at home. However, if you're my partner, you will take your turn and say your answer out loud. I can't hear you, but I want you to say your answer out loud. Number 4, do not talk too long on your turn, or your partner will not have time to have a turn. You can also agree with me or your partner and say, I agree with you because, or you can disagree and say, I disagree with you because, and say why. So here's the first major event in our story. If you were to look in the journey's text, you'd reread pages 160 to 161. Who is in the picture and what's happening? Think about that. Number 1, what did Mia love to do most of all? Who did she play with? What did Mia love to do most of all? Who did she play with? Well, Mia loved to with. So think about that and answer the question in a complete sentence. Mia loved to with. Well, if you remember, Mia loved to play soccer with her brothers and sisters, and some of her brothers and sisters are in this picture, and Mia is kicking a ball. And number 2, how can you tell which children are on Mia's team? So look closely at the picture. Who do you think is on Mia's team? So you would say the children on Mia's team are, and then point to them, because, and say why. So point to the people the children on Mia's team are, and say why. Because, well, the children on Mia's team all have smiles on their faces because Mia is kicking the soccer ball into the goal and her sister Lovedee missed it. And so they scored a goal. So everyone who's happy is on Mia's team. Number 2, look closely at the picture. Think about who's in the picture, what's going on, what's the problem. Reread, and you can reread pages 162 to 166 in our Journeys textbook. Number 1, why did Mia decide to quit playing the soccer game? So remember, she decided to quit playing the soccer game. Why was that? She decided to quit because she decided to quit because she was having a bad game. She kicked the ball and Lovedee kept getting it before it went into the net. So she was frustrated. She wasn't always making a goal. And number 2, how do you think Mia is feeling in the picture? So look closely at her body language, look closely at her face, her arms. How do you think Mia is feeling in the picture and why? So say Mia is feeling because, so say your answer out loud. Well, I think Mia is feeling frustrated or angry or maybe even a little sad because she was having a bad game and things weren't going the way she wanted them to. She wasn't winning. So, number 3, you could reread pages 172 and 174 in the Journeys textbook. Think about what's going on in this picture and what happened right before this picture. So, how do you think Mia is feeling in the picture and why? So, think about what happened before this picture and happened in the story. So, Mia is feeling because, so this is the next day after she quit. That's a hint. The next day she played again. So, how do you think she's feeling? Well, Mia is feeling maybe frustrated or maybe even determined because she was playing the game again and she kicked the ball and it didn't go in the net. So I think she was feeling frustrated and she probably wanted to quit like she did the day before. 2, did she decide to quit? Why or why not? So she did or she did not decide to quit because, so remember, this is the next day. She did or did not decide to quit because, well, if you remember, she did not decide to quit. She did not decide to quit this time because she decided that it was more fun to play the game than to not play the game. She didn't want to be left out. She would rather play soccer and lose than not play soccer at all. And she decided to keep trying. So, number 4, look now at the picture. What happened next? Reread page 177 in the text. And at the end of the story, she learns an important lesson. So, number one, what important lesson did Mia learn? What important lesson did she learn? So you could say, Mia learned that. Well, I would say Mia learned that, like I said before, it's more important to play the game and have the opportunity than to not play the game. She would rather play than not play. And number two says compare. That means look at two things, how Mia felt and looked at the beginning of the story and then at the end of the story. So remember how at the beginning she was very frustrated and she quit. And then at the end, it's right here. So compare how Mia felt and looked at the beginning of the story. So in the beginning, Mia, but in the end, so think about how things changed for Mia. So remember, in the beginning, she quit the game. She was frustrated. She left. Everyone says, "You're a quitter. Why are you quitting?" Whoops, sorry. And then her face was all crumpled up and she looked angry and sad and frustrated. Now, in the end, she's happy because she gets to play. She learned that it's more important to play than to give up and not play at all. So now we're going to do our retell of Winners Never Quit. So, retell of Winners Never Quit. Look up at the top, it says the main character was. Who was the main character, the most important person in the story? Well, the main character was Mia Hamm, the famous soccer player when she was a child. The setting was where did the story mostly take place? The setting was a soccer field. Remember, most of the story took place on the soccer field. So we're going to go down at the bottom. In the end, Mia learned that playing soccer is better than winning, or what would make sense? Because we're doing the lesson at the end right now, because when we're in class, I give you these three words that you cut and paste. So in the end, Mia learned that playing soccer is better than winning or losing. In the end, Mia learned that playing soccer is better than winning or losing. So now remember these pictures in this order. Think about what happened first, later, next, and last. Think about that. So what happened first in the story? How did the story start? Look closely at the picture and talk about what's going on in the picture. I'll read it to you. Mia loved to play soccer with her brothers and sisters every day. When she scored a goal, everyone would cheer. So she really loved when she was winning and she loved to play soccer. Later, look closely at what's going on in the picture. What happened? What is she doing? Well, later, one day, Mia had a bad game. She said, "I quit." Lovedie said, "You can't quit. Then we'll only have two people on our team." So she was having a bad game and she decided to just quit. Next, well, the next day, what happened? Well, next, Mia played again the next day. She dribbled the ball down the field and kicked it toward the goal. When it didn't go in, she felt sad. So she finally decided to play again, but again, she kicked the ball and it didn't go in the goal. She felt sad, maybe even frustrated. But then, last, what happened? Did she give up? Mia decided not to quit. She kept playing on the field because she loved soccer. Remember, in the end, Mia learned that playing soccer is better than winning or losing. Boys and girls, thank you for doing the oral and written retell of Winners Never Quit with me today. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. Have a great day.